Kia ora, New Zealand. Welcome to Sweet Chain Live. My name's Matt Drake. This is episode 206. I'm joined this evening by my host, Morgan Harpel. Good evening, Morgan. How are you?
Hello, Matt. I'm very, very good.
Good week.
Yeah, I feel a little bit numb. I was about to say I'm a little bit tired, but I'm not tired. I'm just a bit numb. It's all happening. So
Yeah.
just come straight off the course. Had to jump through the shower, and here we are. But I'm good, man. How you doing?
Good. Yeah, really, really busy, but not with disc golf. So
Roger.
yeah, it's been it's the start of a bit of a whirlwind weekend for me. My daughter's birthday was today.
And happy birthday!
Thank you. And then it's her last day at daycare tomorrow, and her first day at school on Monday, and then it's her birthday party some point in between in the weekend. So.
Some point in between, mate. You are busy. Good luck with all of that.
We've got this. So it's a thing. So it's been. I'm not free for a round tomorrow afternoon, Brett. Unfortunately, not. I did see the message in the old farts chat, but that will have to wait for another day. But no, listen. Anyway, you've been really busy because we've been seeing all the pictures of the gardens, and they're looking spick and span, like it isn't a kind of forest down there. Like it's
it's definitely still a forest. It's definitely still a forest. There's definitely a lot of trees still. We have been doing heaps of work over the last few weeks. There's a few guys been out there multiple times a week doing so much work. It all got a little bit, not undone, but just we got taken back a couple of notches with a big bit of wind and weather that came through on Tuesday night, I think it was. So the boys been back out there this afternoon, tidying it back up. When I left, Benedict was out there with one of those big backpack blowers just going to town. So it was getting dark when I left, and he was still going hard with quite a bit to do. So shot Benny.
Well, it's fantastic to see, and all the players who are playing in the tournament this weekend will certainly benefit from it. And
100%. It's going to be looking spick for the weekend.
Excellent. Right. So today's show, we're going to kick off with hot scores. Then we're going to bring on our guest tonight, Jamie Thomson he's from Christchurch. And he's got one of the longest running leagues in the country. I think it is the longest running, certainly in terms of time.
Surely.
So we're going to talk to him about the Christchurch League situation and also some other tournaments that he's been involved in, and it should be a very good chat. We've then going to be going through the Paradise results from last weekend. We'll have a look at the junior jammers that's been going on, and the junior events that we've got kind of that have happened and that are up and coming over the next few weeks. We'll look ahead to the Queenstown Classic and give our tips for the Queenstown Classic. And have a look at the tipping leaderboard, where we've only got 2 weeks left to go. There are 2 betting weekends left to go, 3 events, because Seafair and Makariki are next weekend. So it should be, it's all going to come down to quite close, I think, I hope.
You hope,
we shall
in
see.
The position that you're in.
Well, we shall go through that a little bit later on. Disc Golf Valley, and power rankings to round us out. Before we jump into hot scores, it's time to say goodbye to our hot scores, at least for now, to Saxton Field, Linklater, and Marylands. So see you later. Getting in to the top 20 off their own merit is Scion Tree, Taylor River Floodway, and Bottle Lake, which will all be making an appearance in tonight's hot scores. And also the results of the voting, which happened recently. I got a feeling that we weren't entirely clear with what it was that we were asking people to vote on. And the reason is that I think half of the votes came in for courses that are already on the top 20.
And they all came in right at the end of the show last week, and we went into the green room and just went, oh, goodness.
So I don't know. Maybe we need to work on our communication or the wording of our questions. But we were after what is your favourite course that you'd like to see in the hot scores? Sorry, that isn't currently in the hot scores. So if it makes the top 20 anyway off its own back, you don't vote for it because it's a bit of a null vote. But so have a look at the ones that were 20 to 40 and vote for one of them. Anyway, the voting has happened. We've got enough votes in for us to make a decision. And Flight Park Open and Flaxmere will be making an appearance in tonight's hot scores. So cheers. Cheers indeed. Cheers indeed. Morgan, how about you take us through the South?
I don't know, man. This last drop zone that I've got right here, I might just kick back and listen to you doing the hot scores, I think. No, we'll jump right into it and we'll go down to Queen's Park as we do every week. They have not been given the kick out, given the flick even. But we've got Mr. Shannon Kite, excuse me, shooting a 13 down this week to kick off the hot scores. Over to Chingford Park, we have Jack, 4 under par. Then we're into Brockville, where we see Phil Botha, still down south apparently, and he joins Wayne Brown. They both shoot a nice 5 under par this week. Then we get to, cheers, Flight Park. Yes, baby. We've got Amos Brayfogle, 4 under par this week. Over into the Gardens, where we see the 30th Annual Queenstown Classic going down this week, and we have got Marcel Bellew, 7, and I'm pretty sure I just messed that up. I apologise. 7 under par for Marcel. Lismore Park, Mundo McDisk makes his way back into the leaderboard after we called him out last week for not making an appearance. 11 under par for him. Jeremy Brockenshire also shoots 11 under par at Jelly Park. And then we see Kelly Thomson and Joel. Matt, help me out here.
I think it's Kokau.
Hit me. There we go. They both shoot 8 under par this week. And then we see Sam Cole up at Warren Park shooting 12 down. KBG makes another return this week with a 15 down at Smallbone Reserve. And then we have Queen's Park Reserve. Hayden Bonney shooting a nice 9 under par. Darian, not Dorian from the mask, Darian shoots 15 under par at Taylor River, who we welcome into the hot scores this week. And we round out the north of the south with Bradford Park and Alex Batten shooting 14 under par.
Fantastic. A few new names there, which we're going to be getting to meet a whole bunch of people.
I need some practice on a couple of those.
You really do. Okay, so up to the north, starting off in Berrenport, Ben Morrison hits an 8 under par in the hills of Wellington. Across the water at Hikoikoi, Dan Smith goes 4 under par. In Petone up the valley to Harcourt Park, Andy Davies 5 down is enough to take the hot score in Upper Hutt. Then we're going to head east to Flaxmere, which is the first new course of the North Island. Leon Krellin takes out the hot score here with an 8 under par. That's across the League 18 layout. Ollie Webb is the king of Spa Park Black this week with a 5 under par, and up to Scion Tree Nursery in Rotorua, Quentin Suppers, Vaughan Clouston and Taylor can't decide who's best, tying as they've done, 6 under par. Henderson, Jackson Sullivan hits 8 under, and around Woodhill, Guy hits a 2 under par. Ben Upton goes round Rosedale at 5 under for the hot score this week in the city yourself. So well done to everybody who got a hot score. Plenty of new names on the list that we haven't come across before, which we look forward to meeting and getting to know better over the coming weeks. So yeah, head out to one of the new courses: Flaxmere, Flight Park, Scion Tree, Taylor River, or Bottle Lake. Get yourself onto the hot scores. Right, now we're going to be talking to our guest tonight. Our guest tonight is Jamie Thomson. Now, if you've played in the Christchurch League, then you probably know him. If you don't know him, or you haven't played in the Christchurch League, then he's the guy who organises the Christchurch League. It's the longest running and largest, I think, one of the largest leagues in the country. Is it not?
Sure.
We'll ask. Let's ask him. Let's ask him.
Bring him on.
Let's ask him. Bring him in. Bring him in. Good evening, Jamie. How are you?
Kia ora koutou. Pretty good tonight, actually.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Thanks for joining us this week, bro.
Let me just. Well, indeed. Thank you so much for joining us. It's very kind. Let's just confirm a few things. How long have you been doing the Christchurch League now for?
So it's 9th year this year. It all sort of started because I caught the bug of disc golf. There was only one tournament here in Christchurch back in those days. Show my age now. And it wasn't enough for me. So yeah, 9 years ago was the first time, and we had 10 people. And then every year it just seems to steadily grow. We're now averaging anywhere between 90 to 110 a season.
This is crazy, right? And I think this is a really interesting model for any other people up and down the country who want to do it, because it's not just like a flat out, here's your league, and then you play each week on the, you've got it so that people are in divisions, and there's like a seeding that goes on, and there's a little bit of complexity to it that I think makes it more enjoyable for everybody, because you're kind of saying, right, these are the divisions that people are in, and is that right? Have I got this right?
Yeah, pretty much. So there's a little bit of magic that happens in the background. So the whole idea for the league is to try and bridge that gap between just your casual round with your mates to heading out there and playing a sanctioned tournament. And because for myself, life happens. We all know life happens. I try and make it as flexible as possible to allow as many people, especially newcomers, to come along and enjoy basically the game that we play. Although it's not sanctioned, we still play by the same rules. It's just nice knowing that I actually don't have to completely enforce them. Yeah, and that's sort of where it's at. Jelly Park is the home because one, it's the most beautiful course here in Christchurch, and it's fairly friendly when it comes to new players. But with the slight modifications I have, it also still tests most of the regular players.
Nice one. And when you, Matt was just saying about seeding and that, how do you go about getting people into divisions? Obviously, do people sign up for a certain division and then you can go, yeah, nah, buddy, no sandbagging, and then do you ship them into a division, and how do you go about all that?
Yeah, so for regular players that have played before, I use historical data. So how did they perform last league that they played in, or any others after that? I also have what I like to call, and I'm giving away a secret here, so anyone that's wanting to sign up, don't listen. But I've also got what's called the meet and greet and I sell it or promote it in a way where you're meeting people in the community, but really it's a snapshot for me to try and get a gauge on where your skill level is. And then the final step, actually there's two more steps. The next step is anyone that's registered, PDGA registered, have a look at their ratings and use that. And then the final one is reach out to some good people that I play with, reliable sources from all over the city, to kind of give me a gauge on some of the players that I'm a bit iffy about and whether the groups look competitive enough. Majority of the time, it's pretty well formulated. There are occasions where someone's put into a group because they're new and they just either sandbag at the meet and greet because they know my secret, or just improve extremely well at throughout the season.
Yeah. Do you, when they do have a PDGA rating, do you have a ceiling on each division that you go by, whereas that's just your number?
No, so the way I do it is groups of 8, between 8 and 10, depending on how many people sign up. So really it's just I order everybody that has signed up. So say 100 people sign up, from 1 to 100, and then cut them off at 8 as I go down the list.
Yep, that's clever.
However, last year I've mixed it up a wee bit. Big shout out to Cam Hubbard. Might be a familiar name to most, but he gave me a bit of an idea that I ran with, which actually kind of in a way links to something that's happening this weekend as well, where a group of guys or a group of friends or a club or whatever, they can sign up and be their own group. So as long as you've got at least 8 to 10 people in your group, I can make it work. So rather than going in the main group with everybody, it's just you, your friends competing against each other in the DGL League format, for supremacy, really.
Yeah, I know. I quite like that. That idea of kind of club, not really. I don't know. I think club is the wrong word, but like the group of friends competitiveness, where you and your mates take on another group of them and their mates. That's something which is you're doing more of in Christchurch, right? Because isn't there is it Disc Daddies against Back Nine? Is that a competition that's coming up?
Yeah, so this weekend we've got the Bottle Royale held at Bottle Lake. And it all sort of came about because we were at the local tournament, the late summer. Thanks, Ewan. And we noticed another group of guys were in the same shirt, and they had quite a large number. So we, being competitive, we kind of got trash talking. Most of us are real good mates as well. And yeah, just sort of sprung up. Let's do this. Okay, we'll make it happen this weekend. And from that, Tom decided to let the wider community know. Thanks, Tom. See that bus? I just pushed you. He decided to let the wider community know that the Bottle Royale was happening between Disc Daddies and the Back Nine, and to shout out if your group wants to get involved. And it just blew up, absolutely blew up. In a matter of minutes. So both myself and James Hall,
I can see you in the background there, Tom.
Yeah, so myself and James Hall from Back Nine, we've got together, made a bit of a plan, and we're going to finalise a few details tomorrow night over a beer watching the Waz. So yeah, keep an eye out, because the Club Clash series is on its way, where we're going to play across all the main courses here in Christchurch to see who is going to be the last club standing, basically.
I really like that idea, right? I mean, we've spoken, Morgan, in the past about having like a geo club tournament, where, you know, Wellington takes on Christchurch or whatever, and but this is kind of intra region. Do you know what I mean? Like which is super cool, and like really a lot easier to organize, I would suspect, right? Because you're not asking people to come from all over the place, right? One of the big problems is if we wanted to take on if Wellington wanted to take on, you know, Taranaki in a tournament, then trying to organize it so that it all worked, that, you know, a reasonable number of people could make it from each club, would be a nightmare. Whereas, you know, if you're all in the same city, then it makes it a lot easier to do. That's really cool.
Speaking of like easy to do, and just sorry, Matt, I'm just gonna come off the back of that.
Yeah.
How do you find running tournaments now, 9 years in? Like, has it got easier and easier? You've obviously learned a lot along the way, but is there always different challenges for you? I mean, obviously I run tournaments as well, and I feel like I'm always running into new challenges with PDGA sanctioning. So not sanctioning, but just rulings and things like that, because they're always changing. How's that for you on that side of the scene?
Yeah, so it's probably less on rules, because although we follow the PDGA rules, it's not as strict in some aspects. But for me, most of the challenges are around coordinating people, making sure that games are played at a certain time or within a certain time frame. And then some people, and that's where the flexibility comes into it, where
so they don't all have to be played on one day a week.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. So the way it sort of works is on a Monday on the DGL page, little wee selfish plug there. Make sure you go to Facebook and look up CHCH DGL, follow my page. On there on a Monday, I post up the round, and you've got the contact information for everybody in your group, the 10 people. So then it's up to the individuals to reach out and say, hypothetically, Morgan and you and I are up this week. I'll flick you a message and say, hey, I'm free after mahi on Thursday, Friday, otherwise all day Sunday. Any of those work for you? You let me know which day, and we meet up, play the game, send me through the results, and I update leaderboards and things like that.
So it's a head-to-head. It's a head-to-head like match. Do you play match? Is it stroke play head-to-head?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then what I do with there is, because we've got at the end of the season, so you've got the group finals, and that's based on the head-to-head, 3 points for a win, no points for a loss, 1 point for a draw. Whoever's the top two with the most points go head-to-head in a group final to find out who the best of that group was. And then based on average, we have the top 32 mixed players and the top 4 female players, and we all meet up on in a tournament sort of base where it's 2 rounds Jelly Park on a slightly more modified course. Hole 18 Jelly Park being an island hole, fan favourite, my favourite, even though I can't hit the island. And then we have the overall league winner based on the top 32, so it's the best of the best. The main thing for that is, one, I wanted the best people in Christchurch and showcase that and have them win the overall title, but also I love giving out prizes to as many people as possible, especially ones that don't win all the time, because let's face it, the ones that tend to win, they've got all the gear, they've got everything they need, they're happy with their bag, they don't need any more sort of discs and things. So thinking outside the square as to what people want as a prize, as well as how can I get prizes out to as many people as possible.
I like that that head-to-head idea. I like that head-to-head idea. It seems to work quite well. We should do something like that in Wellington. Hint, hint.
Yeah, it's just my goal was to try and get like a mainstream sport format into the golfing world.
That's quite interesting. It's going to be an interesting one, and I do also like the because in Wellington we've run plenty of leagues, plenty of sanctioned leagues, right? So there's like over the summer there was 3 sanctioned leagues that occurred, one in spring, one in summer, and then another one in summer at Berrenport. And so we're like, but they're just straight up stroke play. Everybody shows up. You're not battling against, any one person in particular. You're doing, you're just playing basically a single round of an evening. So yeah, I quite like that idea. Maybe that's something to have a think about. And if there's some industrious Wellingtonian who put that together for us, then
if people want to, are you happy to sort of guide people in the direction to do a similar thing that you're doing, or you just
100%. No, 100%. I've already a few years back, and I know they started it. I haven't seen anything recently, but I know Invercargill picked it up and started doing a few seasons down there. I've also had conversations with, I can't remember who it was, Aroha Mai, if you're listening, but up in Nelson, but nothing sort of really eventuated there. But yeah, I know people down in, they started the league up down in Invercargill, and I'm more than happy to share it. For me, it's all about growing the sport from the ground up.
And I guess that's why it's difficult to run it as a sanctioned event, right? Because it's because you're going head to head and these rounds could take place any time during the week. It would be a nightmare to try and figure that out, or even if PGA would have kind of let it happen, which I'm not sure they would, but yeah.
I've participated in a sanctioned league before, and it everybody needs to play on the same day, same time sort of style. And to me, that's more of a tournament across multiple weeks rather than a league.
That's right. Yeah.
Something I haven't looked into, and it's good that you bring that up, because other tournament directors that do want to run sanctioned leagues might just want to check this. On the PDGA Tournament Manager page now, they've actually added in the button to click for Flex Start. I noticed it the other day when I sanctioned Generation Open, and I'm not sure if you can do it in leagues now as well. I might try and do it in the background while we're still yarning here. But
I don't think you can, honestly. I don't think you can. I think they've got a requirement that leagues must be played on the same day, on this more or less the same time, on the same course, obviously. But yeah, so yeah, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, so I really like that idea. When you in terms of do you have sponsors that come to the party for like prizes and stuff, or have you built up relationships with local companies, etc.?
Yeah, so early stages, NZDG has been behind me pretty much from day dot. There may have been a couple of years in there where it was more for pride than growing, when we had 10 to 20 people. But I'm pretty sure it was either the second or third year I was running it. DSS came on board and been absolutely incredible, both with the prizes and things like that they do with the sponsorship, as well as all the stuff in the background, the setups, the pack downs, the help with some equipment, and just being there. So DSS has been instrumental in keeping this thing consistent. We've also got Falcon electroplating. Yes, sorry, Andrew, I did stumble that first word, but at least I got electroplating out right. It's a bit of a running joke because I tend to stuff it up most years when I yell it out. So Andrew at Falcon Electroplating, and also Christchurch Disc Golf Club, again, massive supporter, massive help. Without the NZDSS and Andrew, and also Christchurch Disc Golf Club, Ewan, and everyone in the background there, it is a community thing. I'm just the front, the face, the person that does all the admin, but it's a massive team in the background that helped me along the way.
And so when's the next one start?
So the next one starts, registration will go up in a couple of months, with the meet and greet generally around the beginning of August. And then the first round will kick off probably beginning of September. I tend to do it so that way there's like 2 weeks of the league before daylight saving, and then daylight saving kicks in to create more opportunity to for people to play after work.
Is it every spring pretty much?
Pretty much, yeah. I've floated it throughout the year, and spring seems to be the best time to do it. We had one season where it was pretty much in a river, and just destroyed the park, so I stopped that. So yeah, spring. It's pretty much a beginning of September to beginning of December competition.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Right. Well, look, I would hope that there's lots of people out there thinking maybe we should do something like this in our own town, because I think it could really make a difference. Now, one of the things that we also wanted to talk to you about, Jamie, was Desert Island Disc Golf. Now, you've not been on the show before, have you? And you're looking at me. You're looking at me quizzically.
I feel like I'm being set up here.
Like, not at all. It comes in two parts. But to get to know you a little bit more, and for everybody who has never met you before, to get to know you a little bit more, we're going to play some Desert Island Disc Golf and some Sweet Chain Safari. So Desert Island Disc Golf. Here's how it works. Imagine you are stranded on a desert island. There is a disc golf course on this desert island, and you've been stranded with 3 of your favorite discs and 3 of your favorite card mates. So you can pick who they are. Now, your card mates can be living or dead. They can be real or fantasy. They can be cartoon characters or real people or pro disc golfers, whoever you want, okay? But you've been stranded with 3 of them, and you've got 3 of your favorite discs. So first up, I sounds like I put you on the spot, which is bizarre because I thought that Tom would have at least mentioned that this might be coming, but clearly the bus that you threw him under, he also has dragged you along
underneath the 16-wheeler in my truck.
So let's have a go. What are your 3 discs? That might be the easiest one to go with.
Yeah, 3 discs. Oh, that's a bit of a tough. Got to be the Berg. I've kind of. Yeah, I've fallen in love with the Berg, or Marama Sub-Zero. Yeah, a great disc. Better putter too. You might think I'm crazy. I've got in my bag my Wasp. That was one of the first discs that was ever given to me.
That's a little bit less out of favour. People don't usually throw a Wasp if they're going to throw.
Trust. If you see my bag, people probably vomit. Yeah. I'd say the Wasp, mainly because it was also my first ace I got with that Wasp. So it's even though I barely throw it these days, it'll never leave my bag. And then the last disc is a tough one to choose between a Kahu or the Boss. And I'm probably going to go with the Boss just because it was a gift. It's got a being dyed with the Boss Baby on it. And ironically, my son actually looks kind of like the Boss Baby. But yeah, it was a bit of a joke from the boys, so I have to take that along with me to the desert.
Fantastic. And who are you taking with you? Who is going to be joining you for this round?
I know your wife, so start with that.
But she doesn't watch this, so I'm kind of safe.
I know safe's the word.
Well, tell her to switch it on, and while she's there, hit the subscribe button and the like button.
Yeah, 3. That's a tough one. My God. Yeah, my brain's drawing a blank, so I'm just going to have to say, unfortunately, you're coming on the desert with me, Morgan, mainly because you're the reason I'm in disc golf. So without you, there wouldn't be the DGL or the disc dads or anything like that. So you're stuck on the island with me as long as you bring the beers.
Here's to that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to someone who's entertaining, who can entertain us with the guitar and a little bit of music. Yeah, sorry guys.
Cam Hubbard.
Cam Hubbard, yep. He's actually been instrumental to my development. He is a very clever individual, awesome human being. He's helped me with my game a lot. So yep, Cam's got to be in there. And then probably the old mate, my shadow and everything I do, Shane Higgins. It's very boring, no celebrities, but no, Shane Higgins, no matter whether it's football,
Shane's
indoor football, or disc golf, rain, hail or shine, he'll be there ready to play.
Fantastic.
He's a good bugger.
And now we move on to the Sweet Chain Safari. Now, this takes the form of 18 questions. The first 9 is the family-friendly front 9, same 9 questions to every guest every week. And then is the Safari back 9, which is different questions to every person every week and takes the form of a this or that. So, are you ready?
No, throw them at me.
it is quick fire, so answer as quick as you can. The first 9 are dead easy. What's your name?
Jamie.
Where were you born?
Christchurch.
Where do you live now?
Moriho, Christchurch.
How many years have you been playing?
I really don't want to answer. First picked up a disc in 2011.
Oh, wow. 13 years. 15, 14 years. What's your PDGA number?
I only just got it. I haven't memorized it. I know it starts with a 3.
Okay, excellent. And your favorite course?
Favorite course? Oh, toughie. I have to go Jelly. It's home. But I love Bottle Lake.
Your favorite disc?
Boss Baby.
Your favorite MPO player?
MPO player. You and Craig.
and your favorite FPO player?
Stephanie Strytherman in FPO, because she has killed the DGL league for many a year.
That will work.
That does work. Morgan, take us through the back 9.
Look, I got to break the fourth wall here. I was really late getting to the show, and Tom's written this, and I'm not going to lie. I thought you were going to throw him under the bus again here, but you really haven't. So, let's start with Ian Foster or Scott Robinson.
Oh, Razor.
Razor? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when we first met, you were in Queenstown or Christchurch. Where would you prefer to live?
Oh, we're Christchurch.
All right.
Yeah, Queenstown, too cold. I mean, you've got bloody antifreeze for your toilet bowl. Too many hills.
Rugby shorts right now. What are you talking about? She's cooking. League or union?
Oh, league, NRL, all day.
NRL. And who's your team?
The Waz.
The Waz. There it is. You've just answered this one. Summer or winter?
Summer.
Sanctioned or non-sanctioned?
Just golf. Like, I'm easy. Like, as long as I'm playing, I'm happy.
Glad. We've got a real easy one here, and I know the answer to this, but cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Attaboy. Chocolate or lollies?
Chocolate.
Swim at the beach or swim at the bay?
Oh. We'll go the bay. I hate the sand.
Okay. And the final hole 18. Do we kick it or do we pass it?
Oh, bro, pass it all day.
To the backs.
Run it straight. Run it straight. That's the way.
Run it straight. Thanks, Jamie.
Oh, all good.
Look, thank you, Jamie, so much for coming on and talking through the Christchurch League and the bits and pieces that are going on. It sounds like you put in a lot of hard work down there, and so yeah, it sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
This is a big hint to anyone in Wellington that they should do this. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Yeah, we'll speak to you again. Very best of luck in the Disc Daddies versus Back Nine Bottle Royale that's taking place this weekend.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun being on. So thanks a lot.
Cheers, bro.
All good.
See you guys.
See you soon.
It's nice one. And when I was just when I was saying Tom throwing him under the bus, if people in the chat hadn't gathered, these guys are both really good mates. Disc Daddies, they both wear those awesome pink Disc Daddy shirts. So, there's got to be a little bit of banter, and Tom's been dying in the green room behind off camera. So it's all above board.
One of the kind of unseen heroes of disc golf in New Zealand, right? Who puts in a heap of work and loads of people have benefited from, but I think probably outside of the sphere that they operate in terms of the town that they live in, probably pretty unknown. But does a huge amount for Christchurch disc golf.
For sure.
And we
100%, right? Like we sit here and we roll through stats week after week after week, and it's all PDGA stats and UDIS stats as well. But we don't see these results. But the people that are there do, and he's saying 90 to 110 people every time out, every season. So that's crazy. A lot of people's games being affected from the ground up. Yeah. So yeah, man, totally, it's great grassroots stuff. I love it.
Right, let's have a look at a sanctioned event which occurred last week, which was the Paradise Plates, which occurred last weekend, Saturday to Monday. Let's start off in MPO. Simon Feasy wins by 3 strokes over Jamie Hunter. Jamie Hunter did a great job here to stay with Simon Feasy.
Were you watching?
Yeah, I was.
Were you watching scores?
I was watching.
He got a hit at one point.
He did.
He got a hit at one point.
I was watching the scores because there was quite a bit on the line when it came to tipping. So it was really interesting to see. Ryan Cambridge DNF'd after the second round despite being in the lead. So I'm not sure what happened there. The final round was on a Monday, which is different to
it's either going to be work related or he may still have that existing niggly injury he's had for a very long time.
I suspect it's probably one of those two things. But yeah, tip the cap to Jamie Hunter for pushing Simon Feasy all the way to the last round there. Jimmy Tuitufu takes out 3rd place, and then a trifecta of Ben Willake, Dave Mora and Daniel Hunter finish in tied for 4th. In FPO, Hayley Flintoff wins over Kathleen Hudson. And in MP40, Mikey Yu takes out the win, perhaps not as dominantly as people expected him to. But still, 8 strokes, you could argue, is fairly dominant. Had a lead from the first round, which he pretty much...
Hard scoring conditions, though, Matt. I'd say there's probably a lot of pars in there. It was really windy both days, and then it was absolutely pouring down with wind on Monday as well.
Yeah,
tough conditions. So probably a lot of par golf.
Dom Hayden wins MP50. In an MA1, Ben Quinn wins in a playoff over Connor Bishop. Took just one hole to win that playoff for Ben.
It was a great putt on the playoff as well. I had watched the video. I have no idea what the hole number is, but he's sort of putting with a big tree stump or log right next to him, and he's probably, it looked to me, about 12, 13 meters, and he eyed it up, and he took all the time he needed, good 20, 25 seconds, and bang, straight in the heart. It was
fantastic.
It was a piece of art.
This is
beautiful.
This is off the back of Connor Bishop shooting 1,000 rated final 3rd round to really catch up. He's rated 897, shoots 1,004. So well done, Connor.
He'll be upset that he didn't take the win, but at the same time, I hope he is stoked with how he played the entire tournament, not even just the last round. I mean, he's got the skills, and he's definitely a lot better than his rating suggests.
Jack Halliday finishes, completes the podium with just a stroke back of those two. In FA1, Hannah Joint wins by 2 strokes over Jessie Reynolds and 1 stroke over Nikki Day. Incredibly close FA1 division there, really good to see. Stuart Gilchrist wins by 6 strokes over Jeremy Hills in MA40. And if you wonder why I'm shaking my fist in congratulatory excitement, then we'll get to the leaderboard and the tips. Basically, when it came to the sweet chain tipping, Steve Lawson has got a massive lead, right? And he had a massive lead before this weekend, and he bet basically all of his coin on Simon Feasey and Mikey Yu, who were pretty much, everybody kind of thought, yeah, look, they're going to win that, the respective divisions. And I went all in on Stu Gilchrist to win MA40 in a more competitive division, so I got better odds. And Stu pulls off the win, nets me 140 plus K coins, really basically closes the gap between me and Steve. And now we'll come to it a bit later on, but it's getting spicy at the top with just 3 events still to play. Jeremy Hills finishes in 2nd place and Lance Essen in 3rd. FA40, Marie Cummings takes out the win here. Mark Tebbett wins MA50. Debbie Mills wins FA50. James Smivels takes out MA60, and Liam Spronken takes out MA2.
Decisive win in MA2 right there.
Very decisive win.
And Tebb's just continuing on the march that he's on right now.
Tournament he plays, eh? Like, it just seems to be okay, all right, going to turn up and win every week.
When he's out there training with Lance Essen, who's only one age division down from him, and then he's got people like Jack Maffey that he's playing with and training with all the time. So you don't have to look far to find the reasons as to why he's being so successful.
Indeed. Some good results and it was a roller coaster especially in MA40, because Jeremy was ahead by at least 3 strokes at one point in the final round, or at the end of the second round. So it was not nailed on as to who would win. So some really good competition in Paradise Place. You didn't get to play this year, Morgan.
I didn't, and I nearly tried to get myself in there pretty late notice, and I decided against it, which is probably for the wiser because of all the work that's been going on last weekend. But I will get myself back out there. I absolutely love it out there. I think I just more enjoy the atmosphere even than the golf.
Yeah,
I think I just enjoy being out there with the crew.
Yeah. It's one I'd like to get to. Honestly, the thing that really is stopping me from getting to it, perhaps quicker or sooner than I have, is the cost. And I don't just mean the cost of the tournament, which I'll get to in a second, but getting to Glenorchy and then staying there is expensive for somebody not in Queenstown, right? So if you live outside of Queenstown, you've got to fly into Queenstown. That's normally pretty pricey, and then getting to Glenorchy is probably all right once you've landed. But
it's an hour up the road.
The cost of I believe that the accommodation costs are built into the package that you get if you play in the tournament. Is that right? Is that?
I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure, like, if it was, it probably wasn't built into the entry fee. It would have been one of your optional
not the
extras.
Entry fee, but but the entry fee itself, I think, is one of the more expensive tournaments as well. So I appreciate it's played on a reserve, which obviously costs some money to hire out or rent or whatever you call it to that. But when you compare it to some of the other more local tournaments, or even tournaments in Christchurch and Invercargill, then I think that this is one of the more expensive ones. And really kind of
I have zero idea what their cost to run a tournament out there is from the Paradise Trust. I'm sure there absolutely will be a cost to it. So
yeah, and look,
I feel comfortable commenting on that without the facts. To be fair,
no, but then ultimately, it's fine for us to make a comment on the cost and say
and saying
ultimately,
why. Yeah.
Ultimately, what's going to happen is that if the cost goes too high, people will go, I don't want to play it, and then value will fall, and so that's what will happen. People will vote with their
What
feet.
did they had 77 people there this year, and I mean, outside of it being a major, I think that's a pretty stock standard number for Paradise over the years.
And it's got an appeal
just
to
running
it.
My mind back.
You touched on that. That will probably provide some of that additional value that you might get from the tournament.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's such. I mean, this isn't a word that describes anything how I feel, but it's like got a spiritual feeling to it, if that makes sense. It's there's a lot of mana and just there's everything about it out there just feels special being there. Actually, I got engaged out there. That's how special it is to me. I didn't forget about that, but I've just thought about it right now. It's a very, very cool place.
I mean, each of the rounds, Marie's just popped into the chat saying that each round was approximately 5 hours. It's a long time to be playing.
That's big. Have you played a tournament where your rounds took that long?
No, the closest one of the most recent times where it got close to that was at Brooker at Nationals, right? Where the rounds, I don't think it touched 5 hours, but I seem to remember there was one round where I started at about 10 and finished at 2:30. What some of the old farts will be able to correct me on this, but I think at Brooker it was it was about 4.5 hours, and that Brooker's on a flat track, right? Brooker's on a flat track, but you're in the wind, right? Which for most of the course, whereas at Paradise you're in the hills, so you're trekking up and down. Most of that time, I suspect, is spent finding discs and looking for not just your own discs, but people on your cards. Discs.
Tom's just said it in our ears here, Matt, is Heislander was the one I was ready just to throw out there. That's the place I've spent probably 4 to 5 hours on a course, and I think
the scout
Waiora scout camp.
I played that. I played that one year. Do you remember I was on the same card as you for the first round?
Yeah.
And,
I do remember.
Well before like me and you started doing this. So
and
that was good fun. That course.
I specifically remember one hole you trying to tell me you can't throw very far, and then you proceeded to throw it like 100 at the time, which seemed a long way, at least for the conversation we were having. You threw it like 110, 115 forehand, flat, and I was like, "This guy's full of it."
I must host a podcast with him. No,
I must. I will get the truth.
Yeah, no. Well, I suspect that your depth perception may have been off slightly, because certainly, or either that, or I got lucky, or it was, I don't know, I was thrown off the edge of a cliff. And
I think you threw a grace, and it was like the most perfect flight. And it was right after a conversation about distance, and I was just like, "What is this?"
my apologies for giving you that feeling. But anyway, it's had some mixed feedback, is what I've seen, and ultimately, as we see it go forward, people will vote for their feet. As I said, it's a tournament I really like to be able to get to one year, but it's one of those that I've really got a plan to get to as well. I can't just sort of on a whim when Rego comes out go, oh yeah, I'll fancy that. It's one of those ones that I've really got to kind of book in advance.
I need to get you to Wahitapu, mate. That's where I need to get you.
True.
And we'll do the show live from there on a boat in the lake with Starlink.
Tom would hate that. Producer Tom's like tearing his hair out, going, "How the hell is this going to work?" Anyway, there was also other events going on this last weekend. The Junior Jammers took place in Christchurch this last weekend. This was the first event in the a kind of junior series that's being run up and down the country. we've got, ignore the MA1 and MA2 scores there, because they're there to provide propagators, or propagation, I should say, for the ratings. So shout out to all the people who've got involved and set those bars. Eli Helms wins in MJ15 over Louis Bevan. Mackenzie Craig takes out FJ15. Eisen Tiva in MJ10. Again, that's a pretty big MJ10 field. And Sarah Wadsworth always all competing as well. I think it's
minus 24.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right. So she's playing on a very short track. It's a very short track. As you can see, it's a par 56 with a total distance of 914 meters. Right. So it's a short track, but then it's an under 10s division. It's perhaps not catered for the fact that she can throw over 100 meters. But you play the division.
That's not her fault, is it?
Not at all. Well,
and shout out to Sarah too. I can't remember if we brought this up on last week's show, but she has just been confirmed as the highest rated FJ10 player in the world again.
Ever. Not just now, ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Which is incredible. It's incredible. It'll be very, very interesting to watch how she develops, especially over the next sort of 3 or 4 years. I think it's going to be the clutch time. If she can be in the position she's in now relative to her age group when she's sort of 14, 15, then really sky's the limit, honestly. Right, let's have a look at producer Tom's going to tell me where we're going to go next. Let's have a look at the Queenstown Classic, which is going on this weekend. Morgan.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to have a look at the tipping for this weekend. There's some very interesting tipping available. In MPO, Mikey Yu is priced at 1.8 to win, and place odds of 1.0 to win. So you don't win anything if he places, right? So basically, we're saying that
do you pay to get that?
the digital development team are saying Mikey Yu is going to win MPO. Ben Willake could challenge, and Jin Kato is perhaps a shout there. Morgan, 8.2 to place. Now, you've got a bit of history at the Gardens in terms of playing well.
We do have some history.
How are you feeling about this weekend?
Yeah, man. 8.2 is a great bet. That's your super bet of the week, ladies and gentlemen. I'm feeling good, man. I feel like once I get into it, I usually give myself a bit of a hard time when I'm running tournaments. I'm feeling really good coming into this weekend. I haven't been playing a bunch of disc golf, but I think that might play into my favor, and I'll just be going off the back of what I know, what's in the back of the mind and what's in, just in mental and body memory. Just let it happen. So I'm feeling pretty good.
I think also looking at the value on these, on some of these, Roberts Craston's at 47 to place.
Roberts not been playing a ton of disc golf.
No? Okay.
No.
Certainly back in a few years ago, that would have been an outrageous price.
And then finally, not saying he can't do it, but he spends every waking minute that he's not at work almost on the water. Yeah, kiteboarding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's kiteboarding or, kite surfing, kite boarding up the mountain, whatever the season is. Yeah.
And finally, Ewan Craig is 26,000, nearly 400 to 1 to take out the win.
That's good odds.
So have a look at that if you're interested. FPO, Alison Tweedy is the favourite here by some distance over Tanis Trainer, Victoria Speller and Hayley Flintoff. Not too much to pick between those three. In MP4,
Tanis Trainer, just a small hint, she beat me this week.
That's the girl who beat you.
That's the one that beat me. Very good out of Canada. Really consistent thrower. I mean this with all respect. I don't think Alison's going to have any trouble there. I think Alison, if anyone's going to give Alison trouble, I think it's going to be Victoria.
Okay.
just being a bit more local.
Yeah. In MP40, Johnny Ferrari is the favourite up against Hemi Tiafitu. That's going to be a pretty close battle, I would have thought.
Yeah, I'm actually
division.
kind of surprised that Johnny, and I mean, obviously it goes off of stats of what's been happening, but Hemi at home, man, hard to beat.
Chris Dixon at 9.4 to place.
Yeah, that's a good one, and so's Pete McKay.
Yeah, okay. In MA1, Ben Quinn, who took out the win last weekend, is at odds of 1.3 in MA1 over Kyle Barringer at 10s. Connor Bishop, who came second at the weekend recently, is at 58, 8.4 to place.
I would be, well, first up, I'm going to go shout out to Kyle Barringer because he's but
are you back?
Outside of Kyle, actually. Oh, am I back?
You're back. Yeah.
Back. Cool.
We're back.
I was just saying, shout out to Kyle. He's been one of the guys that's been out on the course many times every week, just getting it looking sharp. So shot Kyle. But outside of him and Ben, I'd actually be looking slightly further down the list there for a good, really good value bet in Stefano. That's the Stiffmeister that we see on Sweet Chain Hot Scores all the time. Almost weekly, right? So
yeah,
he lives in the gardens basically. He's doing the Mikey routine where he's just in the gardens all the goddamn time.
So place odds of 9s on Stefano. There's quite a few options. Obviously, I'm waiting in some respects for Steve Lawson to reveal his hand. When it comes to these bets, but we'll see. In FA1, it's going to be pretty tight. Rachida Torre, Nikki Day, and Jesse Reynolds will battle it out for the win, most likely. In MA40, Stuart Gilchrist is the favourite up against Roddy McKay, and it's going to be those two, is what we're saying. Those two are going to be heading the way.
Hometown heroes.
In FA40, Alexa McDonald is the favourite narrowly over Amy Anthony. FMA50, Akira Kudo is narrow favourite over Andrew Faulkner, and small favourite over third place Jeff Lewis. Debbie Mills is the favourite in FA50, Rob Kent the favourite in MA60, and KJ Carrig, Wellingtonians KJ Carrig, is the favourite out of Wellington in MA2, odds of 3.3.
MA2 will be an interesting one. If I just scroll down to that, who have we got that's in there? Yeah, actually, there's a couple of names that do not have PDJ ratings. I'm not going to even tell you who they are. Let's just see what happens. Let's see how things shake out.
MJ15 Hinata Kudo is the favourite here over Connor Rance, who are both likely to be the ones who do battle here. And then Alexis Dixon takes on Hayley Rance in FJ15. If you're following the Sweet Chain Tipping series season 1, then you're going to want to tune in now, because let's just flash over to the season leaderboard if we can. The leaderboard right now, Steve Lawson is leading the way. He's got about a 5,500 coin lead over myself, and then we're 100,000 ahead of producer Tom and the rest of the field. Okay, so, and we've gone about it in very different ways, me and Steve, right? Because if you look at it, Steve has put on he's 5th place in terms of number of bets placed. He's got 81 bets, where to my paltry 25. But the return is where I'm hanging my hat with a 400% return. I'd be happy with that at the TAB, I have to say. But yes, it's all going to come down. We've got 3 events left to battle it out. Now, it's still possible, especially with the event that we've got this weekend, where if you look down the divisions, there's quite a few opportunities for some big coin, and I think that that could all change. So if Tom or Josh or Marinay or Jeff, Gregor, or anyone else really, if you can hit even a 9-to-1 and you can find a few grand to put on it, then I think that there's something there. Yeah, what happened, Craig, is last weekend Steve put about half his money that he had, which I think was about 40,000. He put on Simon Feasy and the other half on Mikey Yu, both of which came in. I bet all of my 22,000 on Stu Gilchrist to win at odds of 6.6, and he did. So yeah.
I just want to back up what I was saying about Stefano. I have just put the house on Stefano right now.
Well, okay.
I've just done it. 10
there we
coins
go.
coming your way.
Is that because you're currently struggling with coin, Morgan?
I have no more. I just bet all 10. No, I've got none.
Oh, have you? Okay.
I've got a balance of 0.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm looking at something that says you've got a slightly higher balance than that, but
I'll take it. Send it over.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So it's all to play for, and well, let me just remind you what we are playing for. The Disco Fever have very kindly made a season 1 Sweet Chain tipping disc. It looks great, at least the photos do, and so that will go out to the winner for you to hang on your wall. Fingers crossed on the wall behind me. And yes, then season 2 kicks off at the beginning of April. So yeah, the first event there will be the events on the first weekend of April, which we got coming up. So there's quite a bit in to be watching for this week in tipping. Now, before we go over to power rankings, let's play a bit of disc duel, shall we, Morgan? We've not done this for because we got this in a few in not very many goes last week, actually, didn't we? We did pretty well from memory. What's
right, you kick us off this week, Matty?
Well, you mentioned the Grace earlier on, so let's go with that.
All right.
Okay, so it's the manufacturer is Dynamic Disc because Westside aren't in, so it's a Dynamic Discs disc. It's a lot slower. It's got a higher fade and a lower turn. So we're looking for an overstable mid-range Dynamic disc.
I mean, it's probably not going to be there, but can we go Truth?
Yeah, I think the Truth might be not.
What about an EMAC Truth? No,
Supreme,
but let's go EMAC.
Go EMAC because it will be more stable. Yeah. Right, so we got the dynamic bit. It's slower. It's more fadey. Craig's saying a Justice. It's slower than a 5.
Justice is I haven't seen a Justice in a while. Those are beefy.
So
it could be a Justice. That's a pretty good shout.
Yep. Yeah.
I feel like you might have this. Oh,
okay.
God.
It's less fade, so it's a fade of 3. It's a turn of 0.
Mm-hmm.
It's a speed of less than 5, and it's dynamic disc. So a 0-3 dynamic disc. What's their zone? That's a 0.
Is it a harp? No, where's a harp from?
No, harp
64.
No, harp is West Side.
Oh, West Side. Yeah, you're right. Well, could it be West Side?
No, I don't think. No, because we've got dynamic because with the green tick.
Oh yeah, Roger. Trying to think. I've got a box of discs from that manufacturer just off to my right here, but I don't think there's anything that's in there that would be right.
The amount of latitude that I throw, I don't throw barely any dynamic or any dynamic talk.
How's chat looking? Chat. Craig, we have the Justice. What else have we got in there? Yeah, run the hint. Let's just see what that hint says.
The hints are pretty
Full
average.
speed. So
Speed which
4-2, right? 4-2-0 or 4-2-0-3, right? 4-2-0-3. Dynamic disc 4-2-0-3. Oh God. Has anyone in the chat got us yet? No. This is not a brand for either of us. 4203.
Yeah, this is.
It's not. Hang on, it's not the Slammer, and I am just jumped on the web page, but I've not got there. But there is a bunch of Slammers sitting right in front of me.
So the Slammer is. Yeah, Brett's saying a culprit. That could be it. Let's. We've got another vote for culprit, so maybe try that. I tried throwing those slammers. I just could not get the hang of it. Eh? Just hit the ground way too quick. Let's go culprit because we've got 2 votes. Yeah.
Is there? Yeah, I mean a culprit's 4203.5.
There it is.
Hey.
Well done. Tip of the cap to Brett Carlisle and the Butler, coming through clutch. That's very nice.
Oh yeah, that's as much as you're going to see of that.
Okay, right. Disc Golf Valley. I think we've had a code that's been floating above my head for most of the round. Tom is just completing and collecting his experience points before chucking it up on stream. Blakey with a 9 under, Kelvin with 8 down, Brett Carlisle with a 5 under, and producer Tom way out with a +3, holding everybody up with his +3. So yeah, well done to Blakey and Kelvin with some very good scores. Right, let's have a look at power rankings. There's been a little bit of a change in the power rankings from last week. Not huge amounts, but a little bit. So Kath Headley drops 7 spots down to 12th, and in the male division, there's been a lot of people from So 2 people who were in 13th and 14th have dropped out of the rankings, largely because they probably play fewer events than the 5 events you need to play, which is the minimum number, in order to make it onto the rankings, right? So you need to have played 5 events in the last year, before the last event, in order to make it onto the rankings. Okay, right. So Queenstown Classic this weekend, Morgan. It's going to be great fun to watch. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this is going to shake out. It's going to be very competitive across all the divisions, although we expect that in some of the divisions it could be only 1 or 2 people. But actually, I'm not sure. I think there'll be some surprises.
I tell you what. As much as I think Mikey is going to win, I've really not made it easy for him, right? Like the course has changed. There's only like 7 of the standard holes, which I've intentionally left exactly how they always are because I want a little past, present, future sort of selection of holes out there. There's some tricky stuff, especially once we started getting the baskets, the extra baskets out there today. We're putting in all the Mandos and all the OB line and OB flags. We don't have any line, but OB flags are all out there. You start seeing the shape of what was going on up here, and instead of visualizing, you're actually seeing it, and man, it's got some teeth. So I don't know if it'll be as much of a blowout as it has been in the past couple of years with Mikey.
Okay.
And he might have his hand for with a couple of other people. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Definitely keep an eye on that page over the weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one to watch. Well, look, very best of luck. Very best of luck to everybody playing there. If you're watching this and you want to get involved in supporting us more, then please hit the subscribe button down below, and you can get notified of every time that we go live, and also catch up on any previous streams. If you could give the like and also leave a comment on the video, then that would be great because it helps the YouTube algorithm, as does me saying this helps the YouTube algorithm. And so do that for us. But look, very best of luck to everybody playing down in Queenstown this weekend. Morgan, very best of luck to you.
Thank you.
And wherever you're playing disc golf, take it easy, play well, get some birdies, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.